Okay, so Parshat Chayei Sara. This is a very feminist parsha. This is the only parsha in the entire Torah that is named after a girl. Okay, of course it's named after a dead girl. So what does that say about how we like our women? But I do think that it complements the conversation that we started having on Tuesdays about Torah versus feminism. So check that out. And for tonight's class, I want to speak about what does it mean? What is the feminine energy as that relates to the parsha, and how Chazal look at Sara as opposed to Abraham, and what that means for us and what that means on a practical level. So it starts with a midrash that it says that when we talk about the age of Sarah when she passed away, so it says that she was 100 years and 20 years and 7 years, and so Rashi already notes that why does it say years every time? Why doesn't it just say 127 years? So Rashi says that because when she was 100, it was like she was 20. When she was 20, she was like she was 7. So on that Rashi, on that midrash, so there's a different midrash that expounds even further, and it says that what the Torah was trying to say about Sarah is something called timimut. Timimut is an interesting characteristic. It's a character trait which was made popular by Rabbi Nachman from Breslov. That he was the one who put timimut on the pedestal. But let's move slowly. What does Chazal have to say about this? So it says that chavim tzadikim, that tzadikim are beloved to Hashem, that kishem shehem tamimim kach shnasayim tamimim. That just like they are tamim, so too their years are tamim. So the Torah is saying that just like they were. I would assume that it means in this context it means perfect. Tamim sometimes means perfect. That for example, it says by a red heifer, by a paraduma, that it needs to be tamima, needs to be perfect without any blemishes. Okay, so sometimes tamim means perfect. So just like they're perfect, just like they're complete, so too their years are complete. So what does that mean? The year is complete. That means that they lived a full life. Okay, so on that there was a completion in their lives. Okay, so and then there's an interesting comment. Amar Rabbi Yochanan, that what does it mean that they're tamim? Ki hada eglata tamima, that they're tamim like a calf, like a calf. Okay, so it's not so clear what does this mean. What does it mean like a calf? So I imagine there's nothing especially complete about a calf. So I imagine that what Rabbi Yochanan actually is doing over here is he's playing a sort of play on words, because tamim actually has two meanings. Besides meaning perfect, tamim also means simple. And that is what Rabbi Nachman was always talking about, that to be simple is so special. And over here, so Rabbi Yochanan is making a play on words on the fact that what does it mean that she was tamim? What does it mean that she was perfect, that she was complete? It means that she was simple. So there's some kind of correlation between being complete and being simple. So what does that mean? So there's an idea about Hashem, that when we say that Hashem echad, we say that Hashem is one. So the Rambam writes that when we say Hashem is one, we don't just mean that there's one God and not two gods. It means that Hashem has simplicity, meaning that he's not complex, that it's not like he has different parts. It's not like he has different parts of his brain, different parts of his personality, that he is simple in that every ounce of God is God. There's no delineation between God. It's very, because he's so perfect, that's why he's so simple, meaning that there is perfection in everything, that everything is completely infinite. So something that's simple means it's not complex, it's not complicated. Okay, so we're talking about that there's something imperfect about being complex. So if you say you ask somebody how's your relationship with so and so, so you say it's complicated. That's not a good thing, right? Being complicated is not always good, and being simple is good. Okay, it's simply perfect. If you're actually perfect, part of being perfect is being simple. So Now there's an idea that that Rabbi Yochanan, when he's describing, that when Rabbi Yochanan is describing the simplicity, we missed you. That when he's describing the simplicity of Sara Imenu, so he says that she's simple like a calf, like an animal. So and that sounds a little bit weird. Like what's I believe that it's not good to call a woman a calf. I think you're like
better
a
than
calf.
being called a
cow. So what does this mean? There's a Gemara in Chulin that there's a pasuk in Tehillim that says that Adam avehema toshia Hashem, that man and animal you will save Hashem. So the Gemara in Chulin says that who is this referring to? Elu bnei Adam sharumi b'das, that they're actually very sly, they're actually very, very sharp, and they're able to be very cunning and to be very tricky. And that they make themselves like an animal. Like this, they make themselves. Yeah, they're good. Good.
Sorry.
Welcome. Shalom. So we're talking about people that even though they're very wise and they're very cunning, and they know how to outsmart everybody, but nevertheless that they make themselves like an animal. Okay, what does it mean? Make themselves like an animal? It means that they make themselves very simple. Meaning that one of the things that differentiates human beings from animals is their ability to have analytical thinking. So an animal will just take things at face value. Like what he sees is what he gets. Like an animal will never say, I think you're tricking me. I think that they're it's easier to trick an animal than it is to trick a human being, because you can't think what you're thinking, why you're trying to say what you're trying to say. Like there's no such thing like that in the world of animals, that you're actually telling me something that you don't mean to say, you just want to trick me. So when we say this sound like an animal, we mean a certain kind of naivety. Okay, and the Gemara is complimenting a person for the naivety, that to make yourself like an animal, not to overthink, not to second guess, that when somebody, I'll tell you, there's two kinds. This is something that Rabbi Nachman talks about. That somebody walks over to you and he says, "Hey, I like you. Want to be my friend?" So there's two kinds of responses. Okay, there's the cunning way and the sophisticated way, and that is, what does the person want from me? There must be it can't be that they just like me and they want to be my friend. It must be that they're trying to hurt me, and this is their way of getting whatever they want from me. Okay, that's one approach. And then the other approach is, yeah, I like you too. Let's be friends. Okay, so there's a two. Like in anything in life, there's always going to be these two approaches. Whenever somebody comes to you with something, it's always going to be the double thinking, the triple thinking, the overthinking approach, and then there's just that let's be naive. Okay, and so Chazal are complimenting, they're applauding this way of life of being just accepting, of being just like, I'll take it at face value. I don't want to overthink everything, and being simple is a virtue. Okay, so this is what they mean when they're referring to an animal. There's an interesting halacha. There's an interesting halacha that when it talks about acquisitions, that in order to acquire something, so there's a thing that if you cause something to move, so then that's a method of acquisition. Okay, so if I like you see it like a wedding, so like the chatan will pick up something, or like you do by when you're selling your chametz, you pick up something. Like it's a method of acquisition to make something move. Okay, so the Gemara says that if you want to acquire an animal, so if you call it and it moves because you made noise, so then that's called that you moved it. Why? Because it's moving because of you. Okay, that says that theoretically, if we have a situation with a human being, then we would never call that person is moving because of you, because there's a difference between a human being and an animal. An animal is reacting, so it's considered that you're moving the animal, whereas a human being, if he moves, it's because he wants to move. You didn't move him. You could have inspired him to move. You could have given him the idea that maybe it's a good idea to move, but he didn't move because of your direction. He moved because he decided. Okay? The words of the Gemara is adaita denafshe. He did it because of his own volition. And so we're saying about a simple person that when he's like an animal, he means that he doesn't think on his own volition. That Hashem tells him something, he says sure. Okay? And this is how they're describing Sara Imenu. That's what Rabbi Yochanan meant when he says that she was like a calf, that she was like a perfect calf. So a tamima calf, that means a simple calf. That means that she's like an animal, that not thinking for herself, being passive, just allowing Hashem to guide her without double thinking too much, without overthinking too much, without saying, are you sure? Like why should that be? And just being this we're welcoming this naivety of Sara. Okay? So
I have a question.
Yeah.
It kind of sounds contradictory in a sense that we're spending so much time to overcome our animal selves, but then there are certain things we're supposed to allow through or even condone, that word, to allow.
Well,
I'm not sure what the message is here.
Well, I mean, the message over here is, we didn't really explain the message yet, but the message is something about being simple and not overthinking. It is true that we talk about animal soul, that's like specifically in Chabad, we talk about animal soul like that as something that we're trying to overcome. Even in Chabad, I don't think it's necessarily that we're trying to overcome it, but actually, rather we're just trying to control it. Mm-hmm. There's a difference, because to overcome would infer that we're trying to destroy it. We're trying to make it that he loses, and it's not really the goal. The goal is that our animal soul should be in sync with our divine soul. but moreover, that there's negative aspects to the animal soul, and there's positive aspects to the animal soul. And he talks about laziness as being an animalistic thing. He talks about anger as being an animalistic thing. So those are negative. Mm-hmm. And if there's something positive about the animalistic soul, so that's good. Just because it's animalistic, we have to embrace the fact that we're also animals. We're also a person's going to say I think it's beneath my dignity to wear a coat outside when it's cold. I'm a human being. I care about more important things than that. That's like animals have to worry about freezing to death. No, you're also an animal. You're also going to die if you don't have oxygen.
But animals, they can't believe in God because they don't have intellect, and we were given this special. We were given neshama, not just nefesh.
Excellent. So I think a more. He's a very holy dog. So. Mm-hmm. So he even believes the Rebbe is Mashiach. So there's I think a more basic question that why is it good to be naive? Right? Because what makes humans better than animals is our ability to think. So why would that be a good thing to be naive? Hashem gave us a brain for a reason. You're not supposed to just I always say that it doesn't make sense that Hashem would do something irrational.
Yeah.
That he would tell us I was trying to fool you. It's true. The rational thinking would bring you to the conclusion not to believe in God, and the success is to be able to do something irrational, which is actually something very different between Judaism and Christianity. In Christianity, there's an idea that I believe because it's absurd. It's a Latin phrase. So, and Judaism, Judaism disagrees with that. Judaism says that it's impossible. The Kuzari writes in two places that it's impossible for God to command us to do something that logic would dictate otherwise, and He'll never command us to go against our logic because He gave us our logical abilities to use them. He didn't give us our logical abilities in order to trick us, in order to bring us to the wrong place. Okay. So the question is that why is this a good thing to be simple? Why is this a good thing to be able to turn off our brains? Why is it a good thing to be naive? And that for which the Torah is commending Sara Imenu for this. Okay, so he brings from his Rebbe, Reb Tzadok brings from his Rebbe, the Ishbitz Rebbe, that the reason why Rabbi Yochanan uses this analogy of a calf, of an egla, is actually because he was hinting to something else, and that is the word. There's nothing special about a calf, but rather that he's hinting to the fact that there's something about an egla, that it's the same word as agol, which is round, and that what they were saying about Sarah was that she has this quality of being a circle, of being circular. Okay, so what does it mean? What does it mean that what it means is circular? So really, this really connects to the very essence between guys and girls, and he goes back to a difference, a big difference between Abraham and Sarah, and that is as follows: that when the Torah is saying about the life of Sarah Imeinu, the life of Sarah Imeinu was perfect, and it was complete. So part of what they're saying is that there's a connection between the beginning and the end. That just like the end, she reached a certain level, so she was already at that level from the beginning. That she was from the day she was born, she was just the most beautiful princess. That there was never ups and downs. There was never like she was like out of commission for 2 years. That there was like she part of her simple life was that from beginning to end there was just like she was tranquility, and so he knows that you cannot say that about Avram Avinu. About Avram Avinu, it says explicitly the opposite, because it says that in last week's Parsha, so that at the end of Lech Lecha, so Hashem says to Abraham by the mitzvah of Bris Milah that halach lefanai v'hayei tamim, that through this mitzvah of Bris Milah then you will be tamim, then you'll be perfect. Okay, meaning that there's something about Bris Milah that made him perfect, which was at the age of 90 years old, 80 something, 87 years old. Wow, he was actually so for the very beginning of his life, for the large portion of his life, so he was not perfect, and Sarah is saying that she was always perfect, right? So what is this? What is this saying? So what's the idea of Bris Milah? What's the idea of Bris Milah? So there's a midrash that talks about why we do a Bris Milah, okay? And it says as follows: that there was this non-Jew that came before Rabbi, and he asked him, Rabbi, what is better? What is better, what God does or what people do? So the rabbi said, Rabbi Donasi, so he said, what people do is better. So he was surprised because he thought the rabbis are into God. And he said, what do you mean? And he said, and so Rabbi Donasi, he asked the servant, please bring me a kernel of a wheat and bring me a cake. Okay? So he brought it to him and he said, here, eat this. And he ate the kernel of wheat. And then he brought him the cake. And he says, eat this. So he says, this is what God made. This is what man made. Which is better? So he says, yeah, I hear what you're saying, but he was just like, got upset. And they said, why do you guys do bris milah? Why do you guys do circumcision? And so Bidonasi says, I knew that that's what you're trying to ask me, and that's why I answered you the way I did. Okay? So what do we see from this midrash? That Chazal explained to us what is the idea behind bris milah, and that is that the secular world looks at us as ridiculous, as barbaric, as insane, that you're taking this beautiful, angelic, perfect little baby and you're mutilating him. And they can't understand. They're like, what's wrong with what God did? Like, what you think you know better? Like, God makes this baby. He does a perfect job. He knows how to make dogs. He knows how to make cats. He knows how to make flowers. He knows how to make everything. And like, you take this baby and like a little baby and you mutilate him. Why don't you trust God? And that's what he means. Is that like, what's better, what God makes or what people make? Like, why don't you trust God? God knows what He's doing. And so Rabbi Nasi explained to him that, look, God made a kernel, and a kernel is actually incomplete. And God is waiting for us to take this kernel of wheat and turn it into a cake. And because actually God makes an imperfect world with the expectation for us to complete it. Okay? And that is what the mitzvah of bris milah represents. It's actually very symbolic of our purpose in this world, and that is that we need to be aware of the fact that God made an imperfect world, and He expects us to perfect it, and that's why we're here. Okay, so that's the mitzvah of Bris Milah. So now the question is that if that's such a beautiful symbolism, if that's such a beautiful idea, so how come Bris Milah is only for guys and not for girls? So, because girls are perfect. Okay, so you've heard this before, right? A good stone. So because it must be. Yeah, we practice after every class. Say after me 50 times. So.
I write it on the top.
So the reason why the mitzvah of Bris Milah is not by girls is because God is saying that because girls are perfect, and that this whole idea that the world is imperfect, and it's our job to perfect an imperfect world. That's actually the avodah of men, but women have a different avodah because women are perfect, and their avodah is to connect to the world of perfection. Okay, and so this is why that Avram Avinu, his whole thing, and like this is connected to the fact that women have less mitzvot than men because the purpose of a man is to start as the underdog and like even though he's like distant and he's far and he's not connected, and to fight his way up to a spiritual level. And a woman, she's there, she's born spiritual, she doesn't have to fight to reach her spirituality, to reach her connection. It's really inborn. So he says that this is the difference. So the Ishbitzer says that when it says egla, so it's coming to hint of the igul, of the circle, and a circle is that it's all the same. You're not when you're going in circles, you're not going anywhere, right? Whereas as opposed to a line, so it starts at one place and it ends up somewhere else. Okay, it's constantly changing, it's constantly moving, and so the difference between a guy and a girl is that a guy is a line and a girl is a circle. Okay, so this actually is also that we spoke a little bit about on last Tuesday. We spoke about the different ways of the different kinds of thought processes and the different kinds of brains between men brains and women brains. Another interesting difference between men brains and women brains is this, that generally, that meaning not necessarily. I mean, you can have like this is just like as a generalization, like you can have like we're going to soon see that like the Yitzchak like took Sarah's traits. So like there's not like a very cut and dry thing that this is what boys are, this is what the girls are. But talking about that in general, so guys are more connected to linear thinking, and girls are more connected to associative thinking. Okay, so as a student of mine once said, that it's sort of like this is when I'm regular and this is when I'm high. And that there's a different way. So basically, he was saying the girls are always high, right? So that to think in circular thinking, not in a bad way, but is like it's a different way of getting ideas. That to think through association is a way of moving in circles, as opposed to that this equals this and this equals this, and that's called linear thinking, and it's different kinds of brains. Okay, so Rabbi Yochanan was saying that Sara had this quality of an agol, of a circle, which also means that she's connected to associative thinking. Okay, that things don't have to be linear, things don't have to be necessarily everything was a cause and effect, and I'm always moving. Okay, so now this is what it means when the Chazal say a term that a woman it's like she's already circumcised. Like it means that she already has the perfection. It's an inborn perfection. She doesn't have to do it. And the job of a guy in this world is to fight against his nature, is to constantly change, to constantly evolve. And whereas the job of a girl in this world is more that to not be seduced. You know, it's very interesting. Like the very first fall of mankind, it started with Sarah. Like Sarah, she had to be seduced by the snake. Like what? Chava, yeah. What did I say? Sarah. Thank you. That Chava, she had to be seduced by the snake. She was naturally perfect, and it had to be this somebody took her away from her perfection for her to fall. So now interestingly, this is also connected They're also connected to this mysterious thing that why are guys attracted to girls? Okay.
Missing the completion.
So the reason why is the reason why guys are attracted to girls is because they see in girls completion. They see like they feel so imperfect, and when they see something perfect, that's what they're attracted to. Okay, so and
Oh, sorry.
all
I
of
said
them,
that out loud.
all of them, and so.
That's supposed to be.
I told you the thing about like the guy that was going to, the girl that took her husband to the rabbi for like couples therapy, and like she brings this Rambam. The Rambam says like how a husband is obligated to treat his wife, and she says here read this Rambam. You believe in Rambam, right? Read this Rambam. Read this Rambam. So it says that he should never raise his voice. Never raise his voice. And just always buy her present. Always eat too. And respect her a lot. And I so what do you have to say for yourself? So he says, what do I have to say for myself? The Rambam was not talking about a wife like you. So yes, this is talking about every woman. So and this is as an aside. So and why are girls attracted to guys? Why are girls attracted to guys? That the girl is attracted to the fact that the guy sees her as being perfect because her roommates don't see her as perfect. So that's why like when she sees the guy that looks up to her and sees the completion in her, that's what she is attracted to. Okay? So now you were always wondering, weren't you?
What about like the aspect of like, oh, I can fix him, like the aspect of like girls being attracted to like men they can fix.
That's unhealthy.
That's unhealthy, yes.
Asking for a friend, by the way.
Go for him.
No.
It's your,
I needed that.
I need a little
he's the
passion.
one.
I needed
He's
that.
definitely the one.
His unhappiness is gonna make you very happy.
Thanks, guys. You're feeding my delusions.
As soon as he changes, you're gonna love him.
Oh
even
yeah.
more.
Yeah, totally. I won't be on to the next one.
If he's not fixing himself for you, then he doesn't see you as the perfect thing. Right?
That was
Okay.
too much for me. I like the
Okay.
other answer.
Okay, so
A little more complicated.
Yeah.
so now what's very interesting is that this doesn't like that so far we haven't really explained how this is a good thing, right? Like we've explained that Sara was naturally holy, but it doesn't seem like an avodah. It seems just as a description. And how is it something that we're applauding her for? How is it something that the Torah is looking up to her for? So there's a very interesting thing that did anybody know who Sarah's father was?
Ooh.
I forgot.
Nemo?
No, that's
Yes.
Yeah.
Haran. Haran is where they lived. That Haran was the brother of Abraham, right? So he married his niece, and that's what it means. In last week's Parsha, it says that they were sisters. That he was brother. It doesn't mean actually sister. It means that his father and his wife's grandfather were the same guy. It doesn't mean actually. It was really a niece. So it says that she was the daughter of Haran. So what's the story of Haran? What's the story of Haran? So we see it says at the end of Parshas Noach, it says that Haran died. Haran died in Orchos. It doesn't say how he died. So Chazal say, what was the story of Haran? How did he die? So when Nimrod came to execute Abraham for breaking the idols, so they were curious. Like they said to Haran, whose side are you on? So it says that he was on the fence, and he says, "I'll play it safe. I'll wait and know what happens to Abraham. If Abraham is actually right, if Abraham survives, then I'll be on his side. If Nimrod is really right, then I'll be on his side." Okay. So then Abraham survived, and then so they asked, "Whose side are you on?" He said, "I'm on Abraham's side," and so then they threw Haran into the furnace, and he was burned. Okay, that's the tragic story of Haran. Okay, so what does Haran represent? Haran represents a guy that he did the right thing. when push came to shove, when he asked him, "What do you believe in?" So he actually had the right answers. He was on the right team. He wasn't the enemy. He was on the right team, but he didn't do it from a place of a decision. He didn't come from a place of empowerment. He did it from a place of convenience. That if it's going to work for me, then I'll say the right answers. Okay, which is better than doing the wrong answers. But he was willing to make the right decisions as long as it was convenient. Okay, he had a very complacent life, a very easygoing life, and he wanted to live life in a way that's going to be comfortable, in a way that he's going to make sure that he's not gonna take too many risks. Okay, so that's what Sara was coming from. Okay, so Sara, her mission in life was to be proactive. To be proactive in the sense that I'm choosing my decisions. I'm not just doing what's convenient. I am deciding my destiny. Okay, and that's why we find that in the story of Abraham and Sarah. So Sarah is oftentimes she's the one like that. She's like a powerful woman. Like it's like I mean, you see at the end of last week's Parsha that she was like, when she was laughing about that Abraham is so old, and like she was like, and we see also with the story with Ishmael that she was telling Abraham, you need to get rid of them, this is not good, and like she's really and Hashem tells Abraham, Kol asher tomer alecha Sarah, shema b'kola, that you should listen to everything she says, which is not for everybody. This is but she says for Sarah that whatever she says, you should listen to what she says. And Hashem is giving her this stamp of approval that you're going to be the proactive person. Like you have this, and Chazal say that she was even greater than Abraham in Baruch HaKodesh. She was a greater prophetess than Abraham. Okay, so and that's why Hashem tells Abraham that let her call the shots. Let her call the shots. And this is something that she was called upon to stick with her intuition, to stick with the things that she intuitively knows. But don't just like be complacent. You should go with it at full force. And that's what it means that she was like an egla, that she went completely. She was, and that's the timimut, that she had this inner truth. She didn't have to fight to get to her inner truth. It's not like a person that like was born in the middle of who knows where, and like they only found about Judaism from like some DNA test, and that like I just met somebody this afternoon that he only found out that he's Jewish like 3 years ago, and he was brought up Catholic, and his mother's Jewish, totally Jewish, and he just like found out, and like he went to Esha Torah or whatever, and so what? Mm-hmm. And so that's not what Sarah was. Sarah knew the truth from the very beginning, but like that doesn't give her a free pass to life. That her challenge in life is to be very strong and proactive of living out the truths that she knows. Okay, and that is what we're talking about. Being like an egla, being like this calf, is what was so beautiful about her. That like a calf is also like very hard work. It doesn't stop. Which is also connected to the simplicity, because like a calf, why don't you stop? That if you know the truth and you're going through this, so like sometimes if you think too much, you can say, why am I doing this? Do I really believe in this? Like this is too hard. Am I really getting the results that I want? And she was just very stubborn and just kept on moving, kept on plowing, and kept on doing her thing and being Abraham's very, very loyal sidekick for their entire life. And she never questioned. She was just living through her truths. So this is why it says there's a pasuk in Shir Hashirim that says that Adam echad be'elef matzasi v'isha b'chol elef la matzasi. That it's a feminist take on this pasuk. The simple understanding of the pasuk says that I found 1 in 1,000 men, and I didn't even find one woman. Okay, seems to be saying that you can barely have a good guy, but it's completely impossible to have a good girl. Okay, that's the simple understanding of the pasuk. And the Midrash says that Adam echad me'elef matzasi ze Abraham, v'isha b'chol elef la matzasi zu Sara. Okay, so what does that mean? So Reb Tzadok explains that Abraham, what was his thing? His thing was to rectify the sin of Adam. Okay, and there's something that we spoke about in different times, that Abraham was the first example, the first person who was able to break through the threshold of, after Adam sinned, he fell. So Abraham was the first one to make it back to that level of Adam before the sin. So Abraham's job was to overcome, to fix that sin. And so Tzaddik says that it's actually a process. It's actually a process. That the fixing of the Chayei of Adam Rishon, it says that every time that we eat matzah on the Seder night, so that's part of fixing the sin of the tree of knowledge. The fixing the sin of Adam is a lifelong process. Many people have continued on this process of trying to fix the sin of Adam. But what about the sin of Chava? Isha b'chol elef lo matzasi. That Sara was an anomaly. Sara was a once in history thing, that she was the one who fixed the sin of Chava. Now, how did she fix the sin of Chava? Because the problem of Chava was just that she was able to be coerced, that she was able to be talked out of knowing. She really knew deep down who she really was, but she was able to be coerced. And Sarah was the one that no one could talk her out of anything. That she had her truth and she went with it. Nobody's going to take me away. And that's the opposite of her father. That her father was the one who was just living a easygoing life, and she was the one who's being very strong-minded. Okay, so this is what we're applauding Sarah for, is that she's like this simple egla, that she has this midas atzmimos, and there's this simplicity in the fact that she doesn't overthink, and she keeps on going very strong with her inner truth. Okay, so like, just to summarize, there's different kinds of struggles in life. There's a struggle in life that I'm lost and I need to find clarity, and that's the struggle of Abraham. And that Abraham, for the first 48 years of his life, he was avodah zarah. He was idolatrous. He was pagan, and he was just lost. And his job was to find the truth. And he wasn't born a tzaddik. And then on the other hand, you have a different avodah, that sometimes you have the truth, but the problem is that there's people trying to talk you out of it. And at that point, the midah that's going to keep you going is the midah of simplicity, of just don't think so much, just keep strong to your beliefs. That keep this inner, even though you're not feeling it, even though you're not inspired right now, just keep on going. And that was the midah of Sarah. This difference is something that is relevant to all of us. We have times that the avodah is to keep on searching, to keep on growing, to keep on, and sometimes the avodah is that we're there and to not fall. And so it's two different sides of the coin that we need really both. And this is also symbolized by the 6 days of the week versus Shabbat. Because 6 days of the week is all about the imperfect world, that we're trying to perfect the imperfect world, and that's symbolized by the 39 malachos. The 39 malachos is how do we improve the world? And then you have Shabbos. Shabbos is that it says that Yebenacha ki'ilu malachtecha asuya, that it should be in your eyes as if everything is perfect, as if there's nothing left to do. There is no work to do because everything is already done. Okay? That means you're supposed to imagine that your paper is already written. You're supposed to imagine that you already found the job you're looking for. You're supposed to imagine that you're already married. You're supposed to there's nowhere to go. We're there. Everything. We're completely there. And so what does that mean? If everything is done, so if everything is good, so what are you supposed to do on Shabbos? Okay, you're supposed to enjoy that place of perfection. You shouldn't, not to double think, not to overthink, not to fall, to stay in this high and appreciate the fact that things are good. Okay, and that's an avodah of Shabbos, which is a feminine trait. Okay? Shabbos is a queen. And the 6 days of the week are considered masculine, and the 7th day Shabbos is considered feminine. Okay, so, and this is also two different ways of growing in life. That I've spoken at other times about the dialectic of DBT. That in DBT they talk about that there's two parallel paradigms that a person needs to keep in mind if they want to get anywhere in life. One is called the paradigm of change, and one is the paradigm of acceptance. Okay, what does it mean? What does it mean change? That to understand that right now I'm living a life that's not the way I want it to be, that I need to change things. Right now I have habits that aren't serving me, I have behaviors that aren't serving me, and how do I change them? I need techniques to help me change, to help me get out of this place, but sometimes that's not the mindset that I need. Sometimes I need the mindset that just accept it, to accept the fact that it's perfect. This is the way it is, and that's great. Okay, why do we need this? Because a person is beating himself up, because the person just is so not okay with the situation, so then they can't move because they're paralyzed by the fact that they're so desperate. Okay, and this is true with so many things. This is like anybody that shows up to a job interview or a date with desperateness, so then it's the most unattractive thing in the world. If you tell your employer, like, if you don't hire me, I'm gonna kill myself. Like if you don't I haven't had a cooked meal in 5 months. That doesn't make you look attractive on a interview. So that sometimes you need to just accept that everything's okay, and from the place that everything's okay, that's how you're able to grow. And I once gave this example of a person that was in solitary confinement, and they were going crazy because they were in so much pain, and they had a session with a therapist, that they were able to they were only allowed to look, they only had slit for the eyes, and they told him get me out of here, how to get me out of here, that was the first words that came out of his mouth. And so the therapist told him that I know this is going to sound crazy, but if you actually want to get out of here, the only way that you're going to do it is if you stop thinking about getting out of here. If you just make peace with the fact that this is the reality right now, and that's okay. That's called acceptance. That's called acceptance, and this is the mindset of Shabbos. That everything is exactly the way it needs to be. Everything is perfect. I don't need to go anywhere. Last night we had a Farbrengen for Shlomo Kabach's outside, and so one of the things I noted was that Shlomo said once that he has two objectives that he wants to share with the world. One is Yerushalayim. One is Yerushalayim. That to know that we have this thing that we've been yearning for, and this thing that it's been in our minds for 2,000 years, and we'll never forget. And there's how beautiful Yerushalayim is, and how connected my heart is to Yerushalayim. That's one thing, and the other one is Shabbos. The other one is Shabbos, the beauty of Shabbos. And so I thought once, what are these two things? Why are these the two things that he was obsessed with, was sharing with the world? That Yerushalayim is the where we're going. Yerushalayim is the goal. Yerushalayim is that there's going to be a happy ending. We're going to some place amazing. And Shabbos is that we're already there. Shabbos is that all that beauty that we're hoping for, all that beauty that we're praying for, so you can access it right now. It's under your nose, and that's what Shabbos is all about. Shabbos is acceptance. Shabbos is that everything is perfect, everything is done. There is nothing left to do. So when you're in the state of mind of Shabbos, when you're in the state of mind that everything's perfect, so then don't think that you're off the hook. Don't think that it's a day off. Then when you're in the mindset of Shabbos, you also have an avodah, and that is that from this place that everything is good, so to not let anything get you down. To not let anything mix you up, and to stay in this state of appreciation, to stay in your convictions, and not let anybody convince you to give up, not let anybody tell you that it's made up, not that it's you're not getting anywhere, that you know the truth, and this is it's it's a Yetzer Hara that only comes when you're there. It's only as long as you're working hard, as long as you're working towards a goal. So then nobody can talk to you like, are you sure this is a good idea? Because you're so busy getting your degree, then that you have no time to think that like maybe this is a waste of time. It's only once you have your degree that you say, maybe I should, like, after you finish medical school, then you say, do I really believe in this stuff? I just want to go into Chinese medicine, and then to throw it out the window, that it's a Yetzer Hara that only comes once you're there, right? Because there's an avodah of the 6 days of the week, and that is to work hard, and then there's an avodah of Shabbos, and that is to not give up, and not to overthink, and not to forget, and to be stubborn, and so this was the beauty of Sara Imenu, that she was able to be so strong, that she was able to be so perfect, to be so simple, to be this, and this is a simplicity. This is simplicity, not to be overthinking, not to let people mess with your brain, and to go with your inner truth to the end. Right? So this is something that guys and girls alike are able to take from the beauty of Sara Imenu, and this simplicity / perfection. Right? You understand like how the simplicity and perfection, that's how they go together. That because she was in a place of perfection, so her avodah was the simplicity. That from the guy Abraham, from his place of imperfection, so his avodah was an avodah of not simplicity, of constant work, of constant growth. And her, from her place of perfection, so her avodah was an avodah of simplicity, and to just not to overthink, and to just remain loyal to your convictions. So I bless us all that we should be able to reach this level of simplicity, and like Rav Nassan of Breslov said, like it's very complicated to become simple. It's not. It's so easy to be complicated, and to become simple is a real avodah, and really the secret to the simplicity is to connect to something simple inside of us, and to connect to this place inside of us that knows that all the complications and all the self-doubt, that's not real. That's just your anxiety. That's your brain being your enemy. That's your brain not being your friend. And really, you know the truth from a deeper place, and that's from your intuition, that's from the depths of your soul. And to be loyal to that is actually being true to yourself. And when you're turning off your brain to not overthink, you're actually being more true to yourself. So this is the Maila of Sara Imenu. So I bless us all that we should be able to be simple, and that we should not let anybody mix us up. We shouldn't let ourselves mix us up. We shouldn't let our family mix us up. We shouldn't let society mix us up. That we should be able to be very loyal to our inner truths that we already have, that we don't need to reach. And B'ezrat Hashem, we should have lots of nachas. B'chaim.